Liam stared at the email, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and disbelief. His adventurous friend Marcus had found a way for them to visit North Korea as part of a tightly controlled guided tour. It was a chance to glimpse one of the most secretive countries in the world, but Liam couldn't ignore the anxiety gnawing at the edges of his mind. Despite his apprehension, curiosity won, and soon he and Marcus were boarding a flight into the unknown. From the moment they landed in Pyongyang, everything felt surreal. Their tour guide, a stern man named Mr. Choi, greeted them with a stiff bow and laid out the strict rules they were to follow. Cameras tracked their every move, and they were forbidden from exploring on their own. The city was eerie, wide streets that seemed too empty, towering statues of smiling leaders, and a carefully curated itinerary that offered no room for spontaneity. By the second day, Liam felt like he was trapped in a strange, hyper-controlled dream. Marcus, however, seemed unfazed. His enthusiasm for adventure and risk had only grown. It was during their visit to Mansu Hill Grand Monument that Marcus's recklessness finally caught up with him. While the group stood in reverent silence before the massive statues of the country's leaders, Marcus pulled out his phone and snapped a photo. Liam's stomach dropped. Photography without permission was strictly forbidden. "What are you doing?" Liam hissed, his voice barely audible. Before Marcus could respond, two uniformed guards appeared seemingly out of nowhere. They barked commands in Korean and gestured for Marcus's phone. Mr. Choi stepped forward, his expression unreadable as he spoke with the guards in hushed tones. Finally, he turned to Marcus. "Delete the photo. Now." Marcus complied, his hands shaking, but the guards didn't leave. They gestured for him to follow. Mr. Choi hesitated, then nodded grimly. "You must go with them for questioning. You broke the rules." Liam watched helplessly as Marcus was led away, his friend's face a mask of forced calm. Hours passed, but Marcus didn't return. Mr. Choi assured Liam that Marcus was being questioned and would rejoin them soon. But Liam couldn't shake the growing knot of fear in his chest. That night the hotel was quiet, but Liam's mind churned with worry. He replayed the scene in his head, wondering if there was anything he could have done differently. Finally, unable to bear the uncertainty any longer, he made a decision. He would find Marcus, no matter the risk. Sneaking out of the hotel was easier than he expected. The staff seemed preoccupied, and no one stopped him as he slipped into the quiet streets of Pyongyang. Guided by instinct and a faint noise that sounded like machinery, Liam found himself in a narrow alley behind the hotel. There, a rusted metal door stood ajar, its hinges creaking softly. Inside, the air was damp and cold. Liam descended a flight of concrete stairs, his footsteps echoing in the stillness. At the bottom, he entered a sprawling underground facility that felt worlds apart from the sterile perfection of the city above. Rows of monitors displayed live footage from cameras placed throughout Pyongyang. Tables were covered with papers, maps, and photographs. And there, in the center of the room, was Marcus, bound to a chair, his face pale and bruised. "Marcus," Liam whispered urgently as he rushed to his friend's side. Before he could untie him, a shadow moved in the corner of the room. Liam froze. A man stepped into the light. He wasn't wearing a uniform, but his gaunt face and sharp eyes radiated authority. "You shouldn't be here," he said in accented English. "Who are you?" Liam demanded, his voice trembling. The man ignored the question, his gaze fixed on Marcus. "Your friend broke the rules. That's why he's here. But you've seen too much now." Liam's heart raced. "What is this place?" The man's expression darkened. "A place of truth and lies." He gestured to the monitors. "What you see above ground is a facade. Pyongyang is a stage, a performance for visitors like you. But down here is where the real North Korea exists." Liam's mind reeled. The facility's existence, the surveillance, the stark contrast to the pristine city above. It was too much to process. "What happens now?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. The man studied him for a long moment. "I should report you, but perhaps you can leave if you promise to forget everything you've seen." Liam hesitated. He didn't trust the man, but what choice did he have? "We'll forget. We'll leave." The man nodded and untied Marcus. "Go now, and remember, speak of this to no one." Liam helped Marcus to his feet, his friend's steps unsteady but determined. Together, they retraced their path through the facility and back to the surface. The city was still and quiet, as if nothing had happened. The next morning, Mr. Choi greeted them with his usual stoic demeanor, making no mention of the previous night. Marcus and Liam exchanged a glance, but said nothing. The rest of the tour passed in a haze, the truth of what they'd seen lingering like a shadow in their minds. As their plane left North Korea, Liam stared out the window at the disappearing landscape. He felt a strange mix of relief and unease. They had escaped, but the weight of the secrets they now carried was something he knew they could never truly leave behind.